Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsea. Today I'm excited to be sharing with you a fun project I was asked to work on as part of the Stampin Up Artisan Design Team. The products are from the Fitting Florets Collection. You can purchase these products now. However, some of the items in this collection will also be available in the new mini catalog starting January 2023. They are the Framed Florets Bundle. So that has the Framed Florets Stamp Set, as well as the Framed Florets dies. And these dies do have dies that cut out the images from the stamp set, as well as some really beautiful frames. There's this one, and then there's actually a couple on a second sheet in there. I'll pull those out and you can see those. Let's see. So a couple other ones as well. These other products are only available while supplies last. They do end January 4th, 2023. So they are the Framed and Festive Stamp Set. This is more of a seasonal stamp set. And then we've got this beautiful Designer Series paper. This is the Fitting and Florets Designer Series paper. And it's 12 by 12 and double-sided. Some really beautiful images. And then, of course, two sides. So that's kind of the pattern side. And then we've got more of a simplified pattern on the back. So these are kind of like the busy patterns. And then the simple patterns. Kind of a really fun pack of paper. And then I do love these. These are the Gold Adhesive-Backed Swirls. I'm not sure if you can see, but they've got this really beautiful pattern on them. It's really fun. Don't wait to get those products. They won't last long. To purchase any of the products that I'm going to be using today, as well as those special products I'm sharing, please visit my online store, and the link is below in the description. For today's card, I was asked to use the beautiful paper to create a Christmas card. And I wanted to share with you some tips today on how you can change your paper to get a color scheme for any occasion. And I also have a multicolor stamping tip for you as well. If you are new to my channel and want to see more of my videos, click on the subscribe button and then the bell for notifications. So when Stampin' Up asked me to create a Christmas card with the paper, and I pulled out all of the green papers and I chose two that I thought went really well together. And then I noticed that this paper here has some white berries. And if I was going to go with more of a traditional Christmas feeling for this card, I could change those berries to be red or pink. So I pulled out my Stampin Blend Markers and I grabbed the polished pink ones since that's the color I'm pulling in. And then I did want to also bring in a little bit of red. So I have Cherry Cobbler as well. Really, it's as simple as just coloring over the white space on your DSP. However, there is a little bit of a trick. You need to make sure that you don't get too close to that outside edge. And you want to have a very light touch. And the reason for this is because the Stampin' Blend Markers have a lot of liquid in them. And you can see that it will bleed beyond your image if you get too close to the edge. And then you kind of create this halo look. So I'm using my dark polished pink. So you can see that by coloring over the berries, they have a dimension already added to them with some of that green. And so by adding color over that, you're still seeing some of that dimension come through. However, I wanted, like I said, to add a little bit of red to these. And so I'm going to go ahead and take my light Cherry Cobbler and add just a little bit of red here at the bottom. And just add this to the shadowy area on those berries. And you can see how that really pops. Now, if you wanted to, you could go back over it with your polished pink and smooth it out a little bit. But I'm okay with this the way it is. I know that it's not my focal point, and it's just more of a background element. So I'm going to just keep it as is, and I really like that. So now I just get to decide which direction I want it to be. I think that's that direction that I like. So I wanted to pull in that polished pink color. So I've got a piece of cardstock that's just a little larger than my background piece. So this piece is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 inches. And this piece is just 1/8 of an inch larger. So that would be, let's see, 3 3/8 by 4 7/8. And if you layer them, that just gives you a very nice little border. However, I wanted it to be a little bit fun, and so I've just angled it on my card. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to that cardstock with a little bit of adhesive. And again, just angle it a little bit so we see a little bit of that color peeking through. And then this piece here is just 1/8 of an inch smaller than your card front. So a typical card front is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And so this piece is 4 1/8 inches by 5 3, let's see, no. Yeah, 3/8 of an inch. So I'm pretty sure that's right. You can always find all of the dimensions to all the paper that I'm using either down in the description below or on my blog, creativechelsea.com. Whenever I do a video tutorial, you can always go to my blog to get the written instructions. All right, so that just gets added with it gets a little tiny border. It's about a 1/16 of an inch all the way around on some thick basic white cardstock. And then I'm going to add this piece right to the center. And that's just going to kind of be our base for our card. Now we get to do the fun stuff. We get to create the focal point. So I wanted this to have a fun element, and so I created a belly band to go around my card. So this slides on and off. This is just a very typical card. It opens on the right side, but having the belly band just steps it up a little bit. So I want to share with you how I go about creating my belly bands. So I'm starting with a strip of vellum so that I can see through it. And this strip is 2 1/4 by 9 inches. Now, I always do my belly bands for my standard card size at 9 inches, but you can change your width of that strip. So first we are going to score this at 3/8 of an inch from the right side of that strip. And when you're using vellum, you want to be very gentle with your scoring blade because you don't want to tear it. Do you see that little bit of a score line right there? So then we slide it down, and we're going to next score it at 4 5/16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/16. So we're just giving it a little bit more space around the card so that it can slide back and forth easily. Now, if your card is a little bit thicker, you may need to make this piece a little longer to give yourself some more space if you have a thick card. So the tricky thing with vellum is you just don't press hard when you score, but that means that you have to be careful when you fold it. So you want to make sure your edges here are lined up, that you're folding on a nice straight line. Then you can use your bone folder. And then here, we're going to fold this in towards the card. And then this edge should sit right along that folded edge here. Okay, I'll give you a close-up. Hopefully you can kind of see what I'm saying. So we've got this folded edge that's on the inside, and then this edge here sits along that folded edge. And so we get this really nice, clean belly band with no seams on the back or front. So we're going to add adhere these together with some tear and tape. So on that little folded edge, just add a strip of tear and tape all the way down. And smooth that out. Sometimes it's good to actually close it on your card, just to make sure that you're giving enough space. So you would wrap it around your card and adhere it on your card. So there you can see the adhesive, and that's just because it's vellum. So we're going to have that be our back side. So flip it over and place that adhesive on the back. There we go. All right, so now we're ready to decorate this card. All right, so I wanted the greeting to have a little bit of both of the red colors that I used on the back. So I've got polished pink, and then I'm also using cherry cobbler. So I wanted to share with you my tip to get a multicolored stamp, and it is to use a Stamparatus. So you're going to find your greeting, and I'm using Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Place some paper. This is just some scratch, basic white cardstock. Place it in your Stamparatus and hold it down with 1 or 2 of your magnets. Make sure you're going to have enough space to cut it out. Pick it up, and we are going to ink it first in the polished pink. So I've got my classic Stampin' pad. I'm going to ink it and stamp it. And if it's a little light, go ahead and do it again, just to make that a nice dark ink color. Maybe even a third time. There we go. So that looks really good. Nice, strong greeting. I'll give you a close-up. So now we're going to take a Stampin' Write marker, and we're going to use the brush tip to color in or color over the areas that we want to be cherry cobbler. Now you can do this technique with any dark color ink. So whenever you're doing it, you want to start with your light colored ink first, and then you stamp and use your marker with dark color, because it's going to cover up that light colored ink so much faster and better. I don't really think you can do it the other way around. And I am going to do it 2 or 3 times on each greeting, just to make sure that it's fully covering the polished pink. So next we're going to cut this out with one of the oval dies that came with the framed Florets bundle. Ovals can be a little tricky because there's definitely a center. So just do your best to try and center that inside that frame. Okay, so you can see how it's going to cut 2 pieces. One of them has this really beautiful detail to the frame, and then we have the nice plain oval, nice large oval there. All right, so that's almost ready, and we might as well also cut out our flowers from the DSP. So like I mentioned, I wanted to use the DSP and kind of use it in a unique way by adding that polished pink as my red for the Christmas colors. So I wanted to also pull in some of these beautiful flowers, and I kind of stuck to the ones that were just either the dark pink or the light pink. Here on my original one, I used this double image and then the single flower image, which is right here on that pattern paper. Today I wanted to use 2 of the double flowers just to show you that you can really use any of the flowers. You don't have to just keep it to the ones that I'm using in my sample. The other nice thing is that the DSP does coordinate with the dies that come in that framed florets stamp set, so that bundle. So you can see that we have a very similar image here, and we can cut out this DSP with that coordinating die. All right, so you can see that I've gone ahead and cut both of those out. Now, I also felt like the oval needed a little detail around that outside edge, but I didn't want to add the frame because that would make the whole thing larger. So using my cherry cobbler marker on the fine tip side, I just decided to do a fun little pattern around that edge. So it's just a little dot and dash pattern, and it doesn't need to be perfect. You're just following the line edge of that oval all the way around. Okay, just a really fun little touch to add to your greeting, and you can do that with any shape label. All right, so let's grab our card and we can start to add these things. I'm going to add dimensionals to my label. Oh, I need to bring that down just a little bit. Keep them away from the top and bottom so that it doesn't stick to your card and only to the belly band. And that goes on the left side. Then we'll take the light colored floral and tuck that here. We'll bring it out just a little bit, so have it closer to the edge of the card. And then we've got our darker color, and we can pop that up on top of our label with some dimensionals. So we get this really nice layering effect. And let me show you the original one again so you can see the difference between the two flowers that I've used. It has the exact same look, just with the different shapes. So the last thing we need to add are some just embellishments. I love this silver twine from the Simply Elegant Twine Pack Kit. It comes with gold, and I use the silver and gold all of the time on my projects. It just adds that perfect touch of shine to it. And I wanted to use silver. I felt like the colors just kind of lent themselves to silver a little bit more than the gold color. So I've got 10 inches, and I'm adding them to some glue dots and creating kind of a faux bow look. I kind of wrap everything around back and forth on one glue dot, and then I take this second glue dot and I sandwich it on top. So I have a little bow sandwich there. And then I can take that off and add it anywhere on my card. So I'm just going to tuck it right underneath this top flower, and it's just going to sit right where I place it. And then I'm going to take some of these silver festive foil pearls and add them to my card as well. And I'm just going to use maybe 3 up here at the top and 3 down at the bottom. And I'm adding them to my card base instead of my belly band. I have also added some to the flowers. So I'm going to just add 3 to the flowers, just kind of along the edges, and then maybe 1 down here near the berries. So we've got 9 of those festive pearls on our card. So that card is so cute, and I hope you enjoyed seeing how you can use any pattern paper to create fun, different occasion cards. So if you're interested in getting written instructions or seeing close-up images of how I created this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsea.com. Thanks so much for watching, and have a creative day. Bye.